Welcome to Cutting Down the Nets March 3rd edition. Slow day, calm before the storm. Thursday it starts to heat up. We get Arch Madness. That's when it starts to feel real, when the Missouri Valley starts playing. But this is kind of a bridge day. There are some major conferences finishing up games. But overall, this is something that is pretty rare. We have one play I'm willing to play today, which doesn't happen very often, but um, I don't know. I don't want to stretch things. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Yesterday, it felt awful to lose bets, but it felt great to have that sweat and that tilt back. Sometimes we need it. We went 2-3. The two wins were pretty smooth, covered by, I don't know, 8 points or so. The losses, let's talk about them. Vandy lost by a bucket. That happens, especially with bad teams. Then Buffalo, -6, led by 22 with 12 minutes to go. They slowly evaporated. They were up 7 with about 11 seconds left. There was a loose ball that was awarded to them. They looked at the monitor and thought it hit someone's shorts. So it goes back to Akron, who makes a 3. We go down up 4, make one free throw, miss the other, and then Akron hits another 3. So even seeing that they won by 2, that includes a 3 basically at the buzzer. That was full tilt, because if that call doesn't get reversed, they inbound it up 7 and then go shoot free throws to go up 8, 9. And at that point, there's such little time left. But the king of the pain was Wright State. We had a -13. And with 6 minutes to go, they led by 24 points. It evaporated, went into overtime, and then you become the angry bettor like everyone else that says, I just hope this team loses at this point. And we got our wish. They have been eliminated. Couldn't get them right all year. First half was probably a play, and lesson learned. So that made our short-lived trip above 50% last one day, which is kind of frustrating, and you see some context there. So let's look at today's schedule. Tricky time of year, because you really have to pay attention to where these games are being played if you're adjusting for home court. So if you're predicting your own out there, be careful. It's tricky because some conference tournaments start at host teams and then move to a neutral court. Some have a 1 seed host the whole thing, so then they're at home and their opponent's at the road, but everyone else is neutral. And that information sometimes is difficult to find. I have a few sources that I like. So last night it looked like a handful of plays, but had to peel back some home court. And this is what we end up with. So the only game I'm going to play is the Aztecs, and that's still a tough ask on the road at UNLV in the final game of the regular season for them before their conference tournament starts up. So just something worth noting. Sam Houston State looks like a play. They played at Corpus Christi a month or so ago. They won by 5. This line is fair. It's just a lot of points in a similar situation nearing the end of a season. So I'm likely going to sit that one out. I'll probably splash like a first half or something on Sam Houston State, but a little gun shy after yesterday's collapses, which is frustrating. Then we have Florida A&M at NC Central. NC Central has played 11 games this year, so I'm just crossing them off. Like I can't go there with the amount of data that I have available. Major conference games winding down their seasons. So what I would do with this information is watch for line movement and see if something opens up for you. Typically, lines move in favor of the favored teams. So that means that some things that could open up for us is not the first three, because I expect those lines to get even closer to what my data has as favorites get bet up. Perhaps Nova gets to a point where there's enough of a spread to bet Creighton. So that's an option. Same with UConn and Seton Hall. Typically in these tight spreads, those lines move the most. So perhaps UConn gets favored by enough to make a play there. I'm not expecting a whole lot here. So that's what we're dealing with today. We don't force it. We don't say, well, I play 5 every day. So I land on one game. Shout out to Jamal Franklin, who used to play with the long sleeve t-shirt under his jersey. I'm going to take San Diego State minus 9.5 at UNLV. I'd be fine playing it up to 11. Something to note here. Look at the efficiencies I'm using for San Diego State. Offensive 111.1, defensive 87.4. This team went undefeated last year, basically. Lost really late. We're looking at a 1 seed. They have played really well this year. They ended up losing 3 games, I think, so far. BYU and Utah State in a back-to-back situation. But something to note, those adjusted offensive and defensive efficiencies. The year they went to the Sweet 16 with Kawhi, their efficiencies were 112.5 and 89.5. So this team, talent-wise, is getting there. It's interesting. So I think many analytics have had them as a top 10 team, and I think they are definitely under the radar right now. So we'll take them as our only play today. Don't worry, the storm is coming. Thanks for stopping by, cutting down the nets.